All right, we are back. The one and only OSB Sports Podcast Show. I am Scott Matthews. I'm jacked up. We're going to have a huge show today. I'm joined by my two great co-hosts, the one and only Big Kahuna of OSB, Tommy D, and the man himself, Sports Profit CEO, Teddy Brooks. What's up, guys?
Blessed to be back.
Yeah, week 3, man. It's moving along.
Can you believe it? We're in the third week of NFL and the fourth week, basically, of college football coming up this week. We're finally going to get some good matchups this weekend in college football. I know you always have a lot on your mind, so do you want to kick it off with something exciting?
Well, speaking of college football, we have the first time since 2006 that 6 games have 2 ranked teams playing each other in September. Last week in college football, got my ass kicked a little bit. Ben, pull up that clip with that headbutt. This is how I felt.
Little WWE.
This is how this was an interesting clip, but this is how I felt on Saturday. Recovered on Sunday, thankfully, but this was the Bengals game.
Oh boy.
It's a Bengals fan going after another.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
Barstool said textbook headbutt there, but yeah, I felt like that guy getting headbutted. Not the best college Saturday for me, Scotty.
Listen, you can't win them all, Teddy.
You can't.
You know that. But listen, we're here to try. That's the sure.
That's what it's all about.
Big Kahuna, what's going on with you? Before we get into it.
Well, I like to follow what's happening down here in Florida with the sports betting, and Seminoles were supposed to go live today, and now it's back in court. And it may go to the Supreme Court.
That's where it's going, I hear.
It's where it's going. So it's all bets are off, no pun intended, on when Florida will get legal sports betting.
I think they're just teasing the people in Florida. It's like they're coming, they're not coming. The dice tables came out like 3 or 4 times, and they put them back in a warehouse.
They've dusted off those crap tables a few times. What it is there's one group, Flagger Associates, they're fighting to say you can't have a monopoly. That's a whole nother discussion. I think eventually they'll get it, but it might be drawn out a bit.
So it would only be the Seminole Indian Reservation that has
They're
it.
going to have a monopoly digitally.
They want to have a monopoly.
Well, they're going to have.
Right.
There's no
So
competition.
that means no FanDuel,
Nada.
no MGM,
No one.
Nobody.
no Caesars.
No one.
And there's no other state where that exists right now, right?
You brought up a good point, Teddy. Florida's going to be the biggest sports betting market in the United States. Seminoles are going to run the whole show, retail and digital. They will let some sub people come in, 60-40 split, so you may see a racetrack get it, but they're going to control it all.
Now, will you see, like, FanDuel hosting the platform and then Seminole?
No,
nothing.
It's all going to run through the hosting at down in Hollywood. And, I mean, that's a whole nother discussion for another day.
Yeah.
They could, and we brought this up, they could basically post their own lines and say, this is the number. You like it? Or go somewhere else. So yet to see what's going to happen in the end. I think eventually they prevail. There was even talk that they were going to put the platform up and say, what the hell, let's take a shot. And then people saying, if you got to take it down again, it's going to tarnish the brand. You're talking about $1 billion a year is on the line.
Right. Interesting.
All right, guys. Guys, I got to show you something. I want my producer, Ben, to pull this up. This was the best thing I saw all weekend in the NFL. Probably one of the best defensive field goal blocks I've ever seen. Check this out, guys, if you didn't see it already 1,000 times. That was just, the guy came from all the way on the opposite side of the field, snuck in, and just blocked that perfectly. And I did have Miami in that game, so it still worked out great for me. But
good call on that, Scotty.
yeah, that you don't see field goals blocked like that. That was some defense they put up. All right, well, we got a big show ahead. We got a lot of things to talk about. I think we should kick it off. We got another Thursday night huge NFL matchup between the New York Giants, who were down 21-0 and came back against Arizona. They're staying on the West Coast. They're traveling to San Francisco. Not an easy task by any stretch. Tommy, any take on this Thursday night game? The current line on it is San Fran is 10.5, 45.5 on the total.
That is correct. type of game where I'm just going to put out a lean here. It's a short week for both these teams. I mean, the Giants last week looked like
For the first half, right?
First half, high school team could have done better. They did come back and win. They did not cover. Niners won. They didn't cover either, though. It's a lot of points. If I had to do a lean, I would take the points with the Giants here on the road. But it's a game that...
No Barkley.
No Barkley. Niners could blow them out. Giants had some momentum after coming back with that win last week. I'm not betting the game, but if I had to put a lean, Giants plus the 10.5.
All right, got to go to my main man, Teddy. Any take on this Thursday night game? It's a short week, but
I do. So the Giants did not cover. They did come back. Daniel Jones showed some sparks, some good stuff. But you know, the Giants are a profitable team, Tommy. So it's not a terrible call. They are 8-3 against the spread on the road, but the 49ers are 7-0 against the spread at home. We have this clip of the Giants offensive lineman getting, as the clip says, lost in the matrix. Producer Ben, please go ahead and pull that up. And this, in my opinion, sums up what's going on with the Giants this year. They have no offensive line, and that is not going to cut it against this 49ers defense.
Jones under pressure, gets away, throws
We get that a little bit bigger. And while he's pulling that up, you know, Barkley's out, like Scotty said. That's a big problem. The interesting thing about this game, two of the top 5 most profitable teams from last year betting against the spread, the Giants and the 49ers. You got McCaffrey. He's explosive. I lean 49ers, but I would play it at 10, not 10.5. That half a point right there, I think, is valuable to move over. And if we can't get it,
especially in the NFL, double digits,
it's
not
tough.
easy.
It's not.
Tough.
It's not. I think it opened
It's been a bad bet for a long time, but it's been actually getting a little better of recent.
I think it opened at 9. No worries about that. We'll move on. But yeah, Danny Jones did step it up. 70% completions with the terrible offensive line. So,
all right, I'm not touching this game. I think it's going to be almost like the same kind of matchup like just happened this weekend with the Jets and Dallas. It was a one-sided blowout. I just think that this game is just, there's a lot of obstacles in the game that I just don't really like. And I'm not going to jump on the game because I think San Francisco is actually the more powerhouse of the two teams at this point in time. But I'm not going to get involved with a 10.5 on a Thursday night game with a few days rest. So I'm going to take a pass on this game. I think we should move over to some college football unless you guys got anything you want to say before.
Well, yeah, there was one. I'm always following what's happening out there with the sports books. FanDuel put out a parlay on Sunday. Every team score a field goal. They put it out at 200 to 1.
Wow.
All right. And they lost $20 million.
I think they're kicking themselves in their ass today a little bit, aren't they?
Some guy on bet $1,500 and made $300,000. I guess that's why people still love parlays. There's a dream. But they got their asses kicked on Sunday, paid out $20 million.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What was that? That was just like a special offer
It was
they did
a
one time?
one-time thing. Whoever thought of that probably lost his job. DraftKings had it at 30 to 1. So once again, it goes back to shopping, guys. You could find...
That's a big difference, though. 200 to 1 to 30 to 1.
Yeah. And
did any other books have it, or just those two main ones?
Those two had it, and they lost $20 million on that parlay. And, every team did score a field goal on the 1 o'clock to 4:20 games.
Wow.
Guys like us come on.
Did that include Monday? I'm sorry.
No,
Ted.
it was not Monday. It was just Sunday.
Just Sundays.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ted.
Guys like us come on and say, don't bet parlays, and then people see that, and
They're ready to fire us before we even get a shot at them.
Yeah. It was all over Twitter, and I guess that's why people are still looking for the dream. 200 to 1.
Listen, we're all in it, for the dream, I guess, at the end of the day. But, at the end of the day, you got to play smart, guys, because if you do parlays only, it's going to be a tough task ahead for you. Real tough road to win over the long run, just playing parlays only. We've seen it between all of us at this table, probably over 80 years or more in this business, between all of us, and we're not components of parlays, that's for sure. All right, let's move on.
College football.
College football. I know you're ready for a huge bounce-back week, and I think you actually have a game on Friday night. Tommy and I are not touching Friday, but go right ahead.
I do have something on Friday as a lean.
You do? Okay.
I'll start with Teddy.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna hop into this. I had I went against this team last Friday, and I was proven wrong. This Air Force team has only given up 31 points in 3 games. Their defense is very, very good. They haven't really faced much, but Utah State did have some big offensive numbers going into that game, and Air Force closed them down pretty well. Air Force is 7-2 against the spread on the road. Public money is all over San Jose State. Sharp money is all over Air Force. They put up 344 yards on the ground last year, and San Jose State is 3-8 against the spread in their last 11. They can't run the ball. They have the 86th ranked rushing offense in the country. Air Force is a 2.5 point.
I think it's up to 3.5.
Is it?
I think it's up to 3.5.
Well, if it's up to 3.5, that makes sense.
Yeah. And Air Force, it's funny. I'm going with the same game. 8-0 straight up their last 8 games. Also Air Force.
They are a force to be reckoned with right now. And the teams haven't played since 2020, so not much stock there. But I'm on Air Force this one. I'm playing it at 2.5, spending the extra money if I have to play it safe. There's some games this week that spending that extra money on buying halves and buying points and maybe playing on the money line instead of the spread really paid off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been preaching this for 30 some odd years, but buying points, getting the right numbers, it's like buying stock, guys. You really, if you like a game and you can adjust that line to make it even stronger and have that more of an edge, I think it's 1,000% in your favor to try to do that. I know there's juice factors that come into play, but if you're consistent and you can hit, 70% of those plays by making, good calls and changing the numbers in your favor, it's going to be worthwhile in the long run. What do you think on that as far as buying points and things like that?
Well, buying points, you got to look at what you're laying on the VIG, because in the end of the day, if you're going to lay 130, 140,
yeah, it catches up.
That does catch up. So you got to be careful buying points. If you like a game and you have to buy a half point, you got to say to yourself, do you really like the game? So it's controversial buying points.
By the way, that game is 3.5 Air Force. I just checked with DraftKings and FanDuel.
And I'm agreeing with Teddy. I love Air Force. San Jose is just horrible. I think they just beat Caltech this year or Cal Poly. They should handle them without a problem.
All right, listen, this is probably the best Saturday board we've seen in college football. No doubt about it. Like Teddy said earlier, great matchups. You have anything for the audience out there? I know they're counting on you.
I got to play, but I'm not going to shine on these marquee matchups, because these marquee matchups, as you could see, could go down to the wire. I found something that I think is just going to be a no-brainer, and it's not a popular game, but it's the Battle of Texas, SMU, TCU. Now, if you look at these teams traditionally, this is the Battle of Texas. They're offensive powerhouses. They don't have much defenses, these teams. The total's at 64. I honestly could see this being a 90-point game in the end. I'm going to go over 64, TCU, SMU. I know it's not an attractive game, but I think the total is just cheap.
Okay. I'm showing 6.5 and 63.5 as we speak on the total.
Yeah. I mean, I just see both these teams putting up 35
Again, guys,
points.
Excuse me, Tom. Again, we do these shows early in the week, guys. So I want everyone to understand, we're putting out numbers 4 days before the games. They could adjust. So if you, again, alternate spreads, if you can get them in your favor, if they come down or they go up, we really like them at the prices we're telling you they're at this point in time. So if you can adjust them in your favor, I had a situation like that on Sunday with Green Bay. When we did the show, they were a 2-point favorite. They actually went to a 3-point underdog. I said buy it down to a money line play, but actually everyone should have won because they got +3 Green Bay, and they only lost by 1 in that game. So that's a perfect example. I'm sure you're a big component on that as well.
I have another example. It's not as much of a line moving, but it's about, we do give these plays out really early, and sometimes you learn more things as the week goes on. So, my big play last week was the Bengals. and on the show, and I ended up not really putting much on that game because I did some more digging into that game. And even before Burrow hurt his calf in that game, I found out that Burrow had been playing a lot more hurt in game 1 than people let on, and it made me really stay away from dropping big money on the Bengals on Sunday, and it really saved me a lot there. So Scotty's absolutely right about, we filmed the show on Tuesday. Maybe we should move it to Wednesday. Who knows? We could talk about that in the future. But we filmed the show on Tuesday, and a lot happens between Tuesday and Saturday, or Tuesday and Sunday.
Yeah, I got caught with my pants down on that Green Bay game, 5-point swing. But if everyone followed it and did it right, they made money. So that's the bottom line. All right. Anything else on Saturday you're looking at? A best bet, something like a standout game for the audience?
I have 2 Saturday games I really like. I know I can be long-winded. I'm going to keep the first one quick. Colorado State lost a close, long, late-night game. I was up until 2 in the morning watching that game.
2:30, I think it ended.
Yeah, I was up late. I was tired as heck on Sunday. But Colorado State lost that game. They're going to be worn out, tired, disappointed. They're playing a strong Middle Tennessee team in Tennessee. Middle Tennessee beat Colorado State. Middle Tennessee was a 14-point dog against Colorado State last year. They beat them by, I think, 15. That was a bit, and that was a road dog. They were. Mm-hmm. They have the better quarterback. I'm on Middle Tennessee, -2.5, -3. I'd like to have it at 2.5, but if it's still at 2.5, this is a game that's going to move towards Middle Tennessee as far as the line goes. So I'm on Middle Tennessee. And then I'm also on South Carolina versus Mississippi State. South Carolina is sitting at -6.5 right now. I think it opened at 3 or 3.5. Spencer Rattler is a great quarterback. He has 950 yards, 70% completions. They limited Georgia to 3 points in that first half. People thought it was
Georgia
looking like Georgia was going to lose.
Yeah.
That was in danger. And here's the thing about Mississippi State. As we know, the late, great Mike Leach passed away. He had an offense in place in Mississippi State, the air raid offense. I did a whole segment last year when he passed away about what type of influence. If you look at his tree, his coaching tree, and the coaches that are in college, that are in the NFL, that Mike Leach influenced, there's a lot more coaches than people realize. He has one of the biggest, most successful trees in football. The new coach that came into Mississippi State changed that offense. Will Rogers was very successful as a quarterback under that air raid offense. He changed it to a more run-focused offense, and they are suffering right now. Mississippi State is because of it.
Yeah, it's tough when you change it from a one attack to the opposite attack, and then you try to fill in the pieces. So it takes time to get the programs moving in the right direction. Anything else, Tommy, you like on Saturday as a best bet? We need a best bet out of you.
Well, my best bet is for Sunday. So let me get into Sunday if you guys want to continue college football. But I
definitely want to continue college football.
All right.
I actually have a couple of best bets I love this weekend. I am going to jump all over Pac-12 games. I like Oregon State on the money line. I'm going to money line play this game, guys. They're a 3-point favorite at Washington State. I'm jumping on Oregon State in this game. I think they're the right way to go. This game, Beavers take Oregon State, money line this play, guys. Like I said, I'm a numbers guy. I'm looking for the value of the game, and I think this game straight up as a pick 'em, making it a money line play is the right way to go. And one other game I really like also, Pac-12. I'm going to jump on UCLA, +4.5 against Utah. I think this is going to be a surprise game. I think UCLA is the better team. Even though Oregon's ranked higher than them, they're both undefeated. But I like the Bruins in this game. UCLA going in there, getting the job done. This is a best bet for me. I like UCLA plus the 4.5 playing against Utah. Those are my 2 best bets this weekend in college football. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I do. I like that, Scotty. I really like the UCLA pick. The line movement really does show UCLA, and I think they can really come in. I mean, I guess it would be an upset, but would it really be an upset? This Pac-12 is packed.
Yep.
No pun intended.
They're all playing good.
I really think, you know me, I love the SEC, but the SEC is not showing it to me this year. The SEC is collapsing, and the Pac-12 is rising. Now, obviously, it's going to be broken up after this year, but the Pac-12 it's looking to me, besides Georgia, if it's not Georgia, it's going to be a Pac-12 team that wins this national championship this year. And then speaking on Georgia really quick, after that game last week, the odds of them to go undefeated really shifted. So over under 11.5 wins is basically they're either going to go undefeated or they're going to lose one game. It was minus 134 under. Now it's minus 185 under. Wow. The over went from 116 to around 150. Their schedule isn't really that hard, Georgia's, so that plus 150 becomes a little bit of a good value bet if you think Georgia can go undefeated in the regular season. Doesn't matter what they do in the championship game or in the playoffs. Just in the regular season, you're finding some decent value at plus 150 for them to go undefeated.
All right, I'm not letting you guys go to the NFL until we talk about the guy we've been talking about for 3 straight weeks, Coach Prime. He's 3-0.
60 minutes.
He's going against, excuse me, I got excited there. He's going against Oregon, who's averaging 58 points a game, guys, through their first 3 wins. This is going to be an interesting task for Coach Prime to take his troops out to Oregon, playing against a team with an offense like that. They're a 21-point underdog. I don't know if you guys even have a lean or anything on it, but just an interesting matchup to see what comes out of it. What's your thoughts on Coach Prime trying to go 4-0? If he wins this game, he might go in Mount Rushmore.
I do have a lean on this, but, it's funny. He's polarizing. So people either love him or hate him, right? And you could tell this player for Colorado State does not like Colorado. Oh. Let's pull up, producer Ben, this hit on Travis Hunter last week.
He's getting death threats now, I heard.
He is, which isn't right. But the way he hit Travis Hunter wasn't right either. And Travis Hunter is going to be out for this game against Oregon. That's a
two-way player.
That's a big player missing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was some hit, man. Boom. Wow. Tommy, that's like you used to do when you were in your day playing.
Oh, sure.
He didn't have the ball. It wasn't even really a catch or close to being a catch. He just hit him to hit him. It's not like he was trying to make a play. That pass was off.
I'll tell you, that game was physical from the start. You saw both of those teams put up like crazy penalties, hard hits. I mean, that game took a lot out. Now, like you said, Colorado State's got to try to bounce back. Colorado's got to come back off a game like that. College football's all emotions. You might be sitting with 2 dead ducks this weekend, no pun intended, because Colorado's playing the Ducks. But
and you have Bo Nix for Oregon, who is a very good quarterback. I've been following him since he played for Auburn. I made some good money with him when he was on Auburn, and he. This is going to, I'll tell you what, the odds makers aren't respecting Colorado here at all. 21 points.
No.
They're showing Colorado.
Maybe they are, though. Maybe they're not as, they won those 3 games, but maybe they're not at the level of Oregon.
Right.
This is the real test for Coach Prime.
Yeah.
He could pull this off. 2024, Coach Prime. I'll get him on the ticket.
Nick Saban, watch your back.
Yeah, but no, I don't have an opinion. But if he's going to have to pull a rabbit out of his hat. I think to beat Oregon.
If you put a gun to my head and I had to pick, I would take Oregon. If the line was
71.5 on the total.
Yeah, it's going to be a high flying game. It's going to be a tough. Because Oregon's had a cakewalk, right? They haven't really been tested yet.
58 points a game. They scored 80, 60, and something.
I lean Oregon here. I'm not betting the game, but I lean Oregon. It's going to be a tough one. And before we get off of college, really quickly, Alabama going back to the original quarterback. They were a mess last week. Going back, Ty Buckner is not good at all. You bring up Nick Saban. Nick Saban's, this might be a year off for him. I don't think his job's in jeopardy or anything like that, but
no,
this is going to be a rough year. A rough year for
tough
Bama.
task this weekend.
They do. They could lose another game or two. It's going to be tough to see, but yeah, Pac-12 is really.
When's the last time you see an Alabama team maybe lose 3 games in a year? It hasn't been for a long time.
That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy. Anything else in college, or can we go to the pros?
I'm excited about Sunday's board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Big Kahuna is excited.
Yeah.
I get excited.
I'm excited, and we're going to talk about our Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
First opener down here.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, the Dolphins' season has been near perfect. All right, they're playing a Broncos team, which might be one of the worst teams in the NFL. Miami's coming home. They have everything running. All cylinders are running for them right now. I see 6.5 as a cheap number personally. I'm going to lay the 6.5 with the Dolphins. I mean, the Broncos fell apart last week against Washington. We're up 21-3
Yep.
and ended up losing the game.
They lost 35-33.
Broncos 0-2 at home. Now they're coming down here to Miami.
The Heat.
Well, you got the Heat. I think Miami wins this by 2 touchdowns. I mean, at home. I mean,
I'll tell you what, I said it on the show. They're playing on all cylinders
All
right
cylinders.
now. They are playing super football,
Yeah.
offense. The defense is a little suspect at times, but I think a team like Denver that makes mistakes, if you force them into things, I think Russell Wilson can make mistakes. He can throw picks. He can turn the ball over. Miami can take advantage of it. Teddy's a big component, down here in Miami also. What's your thoughts on the Dolphins 2-0 so far start?
They look great. I mean, the Patriots were able to limit Tua a little bit, and Tyreek Hill did get shut down in that game. So I think it's going to be a good bounce back home win for them. They probably cover. I'm not betting on the game, but I do see them getting the job done.
All right, well, you don't like that one, but I'm sure you got something big time in the NFL for the audience this week. Any best bet for Sunday?
I have 2 games I like. I like the Jags -9 bounce back game at home. I really like what I'm seeing from Trevor Lawrence. The Texans are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They've given up 56 points in their first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think this Jags line at 9 probably moves to 10 or 10.5 soon. So grab it now while you can. And the Jags just beat the Texans last year in January 31-3, and they haven't gotten any better, the Texans. And the Jags are 7-2 in their last 9. So I like that one a lot. Also, does anyone else have anything on that game?
Not on that one, but I
And then
definitely have
also,
something.
this Vikings-Chargers game, it's going to be a really good, really close game.
Boy, something got to give there, huh?
2 very good quarterbacks that are probably everyone's surprised neither of them have won a game this year.
Can you imagine if you said that at the beginning of the year, Justin Herbert 0-2? I mean, Kirk Cousins may be more 0-2 than thinking that the Chargers would be 0-2. But these teams could score like crazy, but
They
I'm
can,
with
and
you.
the Chargers' defense is bad. And the Vikings being at home, I lean Vikings money line. I haven't seen the lines haven't come
pick 'em.
out yet for
It's a
the
pick 'em.
props. Yeah, the lines haven't come out yet for the props, but I really like Kirk Cousins passing yards over and Justin Jefferson receiving yards over here.
Well, he had a hell of a game last week against Philadelphia. I told you he probably could bounce back off that nightmarish game the year before against them. And he threw a ton of yards and had a bunch of touchdowns. He looked great in that game. Anything else in the NFL other than the Miami game?
Well, I'm going to put Miami as my best bet
Okay.
for Sunday.
Noted.
Another game here. I mean, Lions, Falcons. All right, Lions 3.5-point favorite.
So down to 3.
Down to 3.
Yeah.
Well, money's going on.
This is a best bet game for me.
Well,
I hope we're agreeing.
I hope we do agree. Falcons rushing offense, 170 yards per game. Their defense is really strong, 133 yards. They're holding opponents to. I'm going to buy it up to, if it's 3, I'm going to buy it up to 3.5. I'm going to take the Falcons. They win outright against the Lions on Sunday.
Yes. Big Kahuna's agreeing with me.
There
I
we
love
go.
it.
Yep.
I am all over the Falcons.
We didn't compare notes before the show. So.
No, but I'll tell you guys, I'm a numbers guy. If Detroit was right, listen to me carefully. This game would have been 4.5 to 5.5 opening number. I don't care what anyone thinks. This game is 3. It's dropped. I don't even know it was 3.5. It's 3. I'm a numbers guy. I look for value. This is smelling value all over it. I love the Falcons in this game. I think they're going to 3-0. I would never have said that earlier in the season, but this is my best bet on Sunday. The Atlanta Falcons. I would go to +4 on this game, buy it up to 4, because 3.5, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me. I'd rather go to +4, pay the extra juice, get Atlanta +4, best bet. Teddy, anything else?
I co-sign that, actually. I co-sign
right.
that pick. And
I'll do a double fist pump.
I like so far what I'm seeing from Desmond Ridder. It's pretty solid stuff, and I think that's a good play. I think that line definitely does scream Falcons, and the movement screams Falcons. So I'm with you guys on that one.
I don't care if you guys have opinions or not. Anything else look interesting? You got Dallas is like a 12-point favorite.
Big number.
Big numbers, right? I think, and they're on the road as a big number too. That's a high number. They're playing really well though.
I'm dubbing the Patriots-Jets game as the Scrub Bowl. What do you think of that one?
It could be. It could be. That could be a game that maybe they don't even score. Who the heck knows in a game like that? But I'm not touching it.
Both teams are hurting there, I'll tell you.
Tom Brady, where are you, my man? I miss you. Get back.
There was
back.
a rumor floating on Twitter last week that Brady will come to the Jets and fill in for
hit the dagger in my heart.
One thing though, he still hasn't got approval for ownership for the Raiders, and people are speculating because he may jump back into the NFL. You cannot be an active player and have ownership. So I don't know if it's a coincidence.
Maybe he'll replace Matt Jones. I mean,
well, they're going to have to do something. That would be something. Brady comes to New York.
How about New England? Coming back to New England again.
He has a good relationship with Kraft. So yeah, but a lousy relationship with Belichick. So that one I don't see. I think it's a long shot either way. You never know.
All right. Hey, it's interesting with the NFL now with these Monday nights, 2 Monday night games coming up this week again.
Gotta love it.
Gives more people to have fun, I guess. A little more action instead of one Monday night game. Is that going to go on every week, guys? I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I don't know if I'm in love with the fact that at one point you got to choose.
Right, you're overlapping.
They're overlapping, but you can't start it too early on Monday. I think back in the day, the games used to start at 9 on Monday night.
It certainly did.
They used to go to midnight.
Yeah, they used to start at 9. So, I mean, if you want to start one at 6 and one at 9, that might be a little bit better. But when you start them an hour apart like that, and you're making people choose. Now, I think ESPN Plus was doing a split screen where they were showing both games. So
yeah, they were.
It's interesting. You got 2 channels. They make more money, more revenue for the league and for the networks.
Well, you think it has something to do with money?
Nah, never. With the NFL? Nah, come on. It's not money. Yeah. It's for the love of the game.
We may not see it. I'll go out on the limb. NFL's going to expand. I wouldn't doubt that there's a whole nother league that comes out someday, or at least expanded games. And I just see NFL one day going international. You may see just some crazy stuff in the future with the NFL. It's just too much money out there.
Well, they're doing the London thing now, so you can have the
Dolphins are playing
German, Mexico, but there's talk there'll be an international league one day.
They've been saying that for years, though.
They have, but it's going to come one day, in my opinion.
Listen, everything comes sooner or later, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who'd have think if we sat at this table years ago, we'd think about sports betting being legal in all these states now. So it's amazing what goes on, and the future is bright. And we had a great action-packed show. Anything you want to add before we go? And please tell the viewers where they can find you, Teddy, on social media, because you do some great work and they should take advantage of it.
Yeah, so I'm going to add one thing. We talk to a lot of players every week, and one thing that I noticed, and Tommy brought it up earlier, Scotty brought it up earlier, no one is really line shopping, right? You have all these books, these options. It's not going to be the case in Florida, but in most states. And most people I speak to, they have one sports book, right? So, guys, open up different sports books accounts and line shop. Look for the best line. These sports books all have different lines, like the FanDuel parlay. That's an extreme case, but even if it's think about it this way: if you have a half a point difference in a few games a week, that's a minus 10 out of 110, so minus 120 instead of minus 110. Even if you're just betting $100 a game, that's about 5 games. If you could find that difference, that's $50 a week, $200 a month. That is $2,400 a year that you can save yourself by line shopping.
It's worth it.
Could not agree more. And I've mentioned before, on my site, onlinesportsbet.com, we have an odds feed where we have 7 books up there, props, every possible sport, soccer, everything.
Tell them where they can find you,
Tommy. Main site, onlinesportsbet.com.
All right.
You want to definitely check out my Instagram. I've been on a roll, OSB_sports. And I do have a Telegram channel. And if you want to get on my Telegram channel, it's invite only. send me a DM on my Instagram at OSB_sports. I'll send you the invite to get on my Telegram.
I don't know if there's anybody more out there than this guy. Is it? I mean,
Well,
he's everywhere.
Listen,
Tommy D.
yeah.
He's the man. All right, you did tell the people where they can find you, and I want them to know because you do great work, and they should take advantage of some big plays coming up.
TikTok at the Sports Profits, YouTube, youtube.com/at the Sports Profits, and Instagram _profits_pick. No S on pick.
That's it, right?
And how about you?
Of course. They got to find me as well. We've been dynamite with our free picks that we've been putting out. Extremely consistent. I'm very happy with the results. And you can find me on TikTok at SMPicks, Picks for TikTok, and as well on Instagram at SMSportsPicks, Picks. Remember, write it down. Do what you got to do to remember it, guys. Well, I thank both guys for being on. Teddy, a pleasure as always. Big Kahuna, can't say any more about you. You're the man. And guys, we had a great show this week. We are going to be back next week. Follow our show on every platform out there. Podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, you name it, we're there. And check everything out we do. We're here to give you the edge. We've got plenty of experience here. This is what we do. So enjoy it. We'll be back next week. Have a great day. I'm Scott Matthews. See you next week.
Very good.